welcome to another Edinburgh Watch Company video. My name's Jonathan, and on today's video we are going to be talking about two fantastic new arrivals from the Rolex collection. Now you can find out more about all of these watches by visiting our website at edinburghwatchcompany.co.uk. Now the purpose of this video is just to give you a bit of a heads up on some of our new stock that's arriving. Things are really busy just now, and we're finding watches are coming and going very quickly, and I apologize, even before we get this video out in a couple of days time, some of these watches will already be sold, but it's the best that we can do. Now, all of these watches that we have here, they come complete with all their original box and papers, and some of these watches we've got are completely unworn as well, and of course they'll have the balance of the manufacturer's warranty. So today we're going to be talking about the Datejust. We've got Oyster Perpetuals, we have got sports watches, and when I say Oyster Perpetuals, we have probably got the most collectible Oyster Perpetual that money can buy. So there we are, let's get this show on the road. Now, some of you have been asking, what is this beautiful backdrop we've got? Well, this actually is a lovely photograph. For those of you thinking, what is this? We're using green screen technology. So you'll see throughout this year, we'll be changing the pictures to give you some lovely backdrops. And this photograph comes actually from a friend of mine. So for those of you into photography, you will love this website. And I'd love to introduce you to a friend of mine called Steve Carter, and it's stevecarter.com. And I came across Steve many years ago. Some of you will know I'm an absolute petrol head, and I organized a car trip up onto the west of Scotland. And I came across Steve. Steve is an amazing photographer, an incredible musician, and like me, loves his cars too. So he photographed all the cars on my trip. So what I was looking to do was to reach out to Steve and say, look, could I use some of your images for my website? And he said, look, I'd love to try and help you. So the first one we've actually got here is one that he took up in Sutherland. And as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. So throughout this year, you'll see that we'll be using some beautiful new backdrops, but I really recommend you go and visit his website, stevecarter.com. His photographs are absolutely gorgeous. So let's go and have a look at our first watch. So what better place to start than a Rolex Datejust, a staple model in the Rolex's collection, which was introduced in 1945 with a choice of case sizes in 26, 31, 34, 36 and 41. So this watch we have here is the Datejust 2, and this was introduced by Rolex to, I guess, follow the demand for larger watches. Now the traditional gents Rolex Datejust was a 36mm, and this being the 41 was the start of something a little bigger. Now this was introduced and has been a very popular model and is now discontinued, of course replaced by the Datejust 41. But this is a really pretty example. The color of this one is the Azuro blue dial, and it's got the Roman numerals, the white gold fluted bezel, and of course a stainless steel bracelet on it. Now we only got this watch last weekend. It's had just one owner from new who bought it back in 2016, and it's been very lightly worn along with a collection of other watches, and it's still even got some of its case stickers on it. Now normally when we take a watch and we send it away and have a light polish to it, I don't think this one needs it at all. So I know some of our customers, some of the collectors don't want watches polished. I think this would be a classic one for that, but we'll still get it all checked over first. So by means of the specification of the watch, this has an automatic chronometer movement in it. Performance-wise, that's performing to within -4 to +6 seconds per day, which I think is pretty accurate. And of course, they've upped the ante further and increased that to plus or -2 seconds per day. That's the latest sort of standard that you'll get on the Datejust 41. As I said earlier, it's got a case size of 41mm, and this can take you down to 100 meters. So I think that's going to be enough for most of you, unless you want a dive watch. But it is just absolutely lovely, and hopefully the camera is picking up the angles of that. Now the Datejust 2, which this one is, has a slightly thicker case than the new model. And some people, I think, with bigger wrists, they actually quite like that. It's got a slightly more substantial feel to it. The crown on the side here, you can see the Rolex logo on it there. This actually screws into the side of the case to make sure that's waterproof for you. And then looking at the bracelet here, this has the Oyster bracelet. And you can see the polished center links running through the middle, the satinized edges, and then on the side here, the polished links too. Now you can see on the back of the clasp there, it's still got its protective stickers in place, and again a beautiful case back on it as well. So there we are. I'll actually just put this on my start of my wrist there. I'm going to hold it up to camera there so you can see we've actually got some of the links taken out of this watch that are actually in the box. So this one's not going to fit on my wrist, but it gives you an idea of what it's like for thickness. So there we are. That is a 2016 Datejust 2. We've not actually seen one of these for a while, and I think really quite collectible. But for me, who's so biased on blue, that dial color, it's absolutely lovely. I think it's the contrast of the Roman numerals for me against the blue dial works so well. So with one Datejust, let's follow it with another. This is another one of our unworn watches that's come in, and this is the new model Datejust 41. And this is what we call the 126-300, and it has a classic black dial with the index markers there, which have a really strong chromolite on them for nighttime reading. You've got the 2.5 times multiplication there on the date, so again makes it very easy to read. It's very hard I think black is actually a lovely color. It's absolutely a timeless, it works I think with any outfit, and what is so nice about this new model is how slim it is for once it's actually on the wrist. The configuration of this particular one is actually on the smooth bezel, so the bezel on this one is solid stainless steel, where the Datejust I showed you before was actually in white gold. So this one makes this one slightly less expensive. You can see the Rolex crown there at top, it's like raised on there. And then if we turn this watch on its side here, you can see here it's slightly slimmer. This is a really comfortable watch to wear. So I think with a 41mm case size, you've got that nice footprint on the wrist, but you haven't got the chunk to it there. Again, by means of specification on this one, this has the automatic movement, but this has the new 3235 movement in it with a 70-hour power reserve, so really practical. And again, the accuracy of this one, plus or minus 2 seconds per day, which is absolutely fantastic for an automatic watch. Case size 41mm, and again, waterproof down to 100 meters. So it's really a watch I think you can wear for any occasion. You get choice of 2 bracelets on this model. This particular one here is with the Oyster bracelet, so perhaps a slightly sportier look. Polished center links, saturnized edges, polished on the side there. And with this clasp here, this has the Easy Link clasp there. Now if I just gently put that down there, and I'll use this pen to point, you can see here, this is the Easy Link. And this is very easily pops out just to give you that little bit more space on the wrist. So you'll hear me talking about the Easy Link with the other watches as we go through them, but that's a really good feature. So let me just show you this one on the wrist. Now I'm just going to talk about my wrist size once today. I've got an 8-inch wrist, so you can see there it's very slim on the wrist. And let's just bring it down to camera there so you can just see the size. It's really nice. You can see the way that the bracelet tapers down to where it joins the clasp. Let me just hold that a little bit longer just so you can appreciate that. It's a really beautiful looking watch. So there we are. That's the Datejust 41 with the black dial. It's an absolute superb looking piece. Okay, so we're now going to go look at some sports watches, and what I've got for you here is a Rolex Submariner. Now this one has just come back to us. We sold this to an existing customer of ours in 2018. And he's very lightly worn it, along with some of the other watches we've actually got in the collection today, and it's really nice to have one of these watches back again. What I think is so nice about the Rolex sports watches in particular is the residual value. And what we're seeing now is customers who've bought watches off us over the last few years, many of them are able to trade these watches back in again and get what they pay for them or even more. So that's a really encouraging sign. I'm very careful when I talk about investments in watches. Of course, safest investment will be to go and buy a brand new sports watch at retail, but we all know how hard that is to do. But I think if you look at the medium long term, then I think the sports watches are a good bet, even if you're having to pay a little bit more for them to buy them from likes of an independent like myself. So this model we have here is the Rolex Submariner. It's the 40mm case size, and it's the 116610 LN. Now this of course is the discontinued one, and again, as we mentioned earlier, with the Datejust, anything that gets discontinued shoots up in price. There's a really good following for this watch. So the Submariner was introduced in 2010, and they introduced a number of new features. The most striking and noticeable difference is the case, and this has what they call the maxi case. So we can see here, if I just again use the pen to draw this out there, it's here, the case lugs are slightly wider than the actual previous model. They also introduced a ceramic bezel on it, and this was to try and make it stronger and more resistant to the sort of little dents and scrapes you could get on the aluminium bezel. The dial itself, the plots here for the hour markers are what we call the maxi plots here. So they are bigger than the older model, and they have more lume on them as well. So it does make the watch very, very easy to read at night time. You have the ceramic bezel. This turns unidirectionally, which is quite typical of the dive watch. And even just turning it there, you can really just feel the quality in your hand of the engineering that's gone into this watch. So turning to the side of the watch there, you can see, again, that gives you an idea of its thickness, but you can see also here the crown guards as well. So giving you plenty of protection there. This actually screws into the side of the case. Now with the Submariner, this allows you to take the watch down to 1,000 foot. So that's going to be enough for most of you. Another angle there at the side of the case. So a really superb looking watch. Now one of the other features they introduced to the watch, of course, was the change to the bracelet. The bracelet, again, it has that sort of satinized look to it that you would see on all of the Submariners, but a much stronger bracelet, solid links, and it joined here what we call the glide lock clasp. So a really clever feature here, and if I'll just pull this out here and then slide, you can just see how easy it is just to get the bracelet perfect for your wrist. So a really a clever feature. On the older models here, this part of the deployment clasp was pressed steel, and the new ones there are solid steel. So a super watch. I'll show you actually on the wrist. It works very well for me, case size. I normally tend to wear a 40mm. I can sort of, somewhere between 40 and 42 is about right for me, but I find it very hard to beat this watch, size-wise. I'll show you, I've just lifted up there. So an absolute beautiful one. Just while we're talking about watches I'm wearing, today I am wearing our Rolex Daytona. Just bring that one into the camera there. And this is the 116-500. This is the one with the black dial, ceramic bezel, and one of the watches that you have to sadly wait years and years to get, but it's almost worth the wait. But those that can't get them, you know, they are available on them. They're very much achieving a premium in the market. But I've seen recently that the Daytona prices are going up and up and up. We've got this one at just under 20,000, but you know, the white ones now are seeing 22, 23,000. So they currently seem to be going in one direction. So it's very much a case of patience or impatience. How long do you want to wait? And are you really going to get a watch? And we sometimes find that, you know, customers are coming back to us and they just don't want to wait. They just want the Daytona, and you know, they just buy that watch. Okay, so while we've talked about the 40mm one, this watch we have here is the new Submariner, and this is the one with a 41mm case size. So the model number changed from the 116610LN to the 126610LN. And if I just bring the other watch back actually, so we can just put them beside each other here. That's a good test for the camera. You can see the width of the case lugs here. You can see that maxi case. This hasn't actually got a nickname yet, but it's more like a midi case, so that little bit slimmer on the new model there. The other changes they made are that the bracelet here, which previously, as we look across here, this used to be 20mm between the case lugs. This has now gone up to 21mm, and again this tapers as it goes down there. Looking at the actual dial itself, again with the previous Submariner. You've got nice strong hour plots there with lots of luminous coating on them. You've got that familiar ceramic bezel. Again, this is a unidirectional bezel. Again, just like the other one we showed, beautifully engineered. You can probably hear that clicking. It just feels really nice. And again, even when you're comparing them to other brands that have that similar sort of feature, it really takes a lot of beating to that sort of feel of the Rolex. You've got the date there with the 2.5 times magnification there. And aside from that, a lovely uncluttered dial. Give you a quick perspective of the side there. Again, fairly slim to wear. And this new bracelet there in satinized steel with the glide lock clasp on the back. Still got the sticker on the back. This one is a late 2020 watch. We're not describing it as unworn, but literally, in the words of my customer, it has only been worn around the house a few times, so it's in nearly as new condition. It certainly doesn't warrant a polish. Again, just to show you there, if we want to expand the bracelet, just pull that out, slide it down a little bit, and pop it on your wrist. Very similar to the previous one. It's just a cracking looking watch. I have to say I'm very biased to this watch because many years ago, when I was 23, the Submariner was the first watch I bought. And I'm sorry for those looking at this watch today where it's thousands more, but I bought mine and it was £800. So they have gone up now. I think this watch is, around about the sort of £7,500 mark if you can buy these watches in dealers. But anywhere else you have to pay a little bit more for them. So let's show you that one up to camera. Can't go wrong with it. I think if you had a collection of Rolexes, you'd definitely want to have a Submariner in there. And the black is absolutely lovely, but we've got something a bit more colourful to show you after this one. And that is a watch made famous by its name, the Hulk. This is just perhaps one of the finest examples you could buy. So like the Submariner we showed you recently, the 40mm, which has been discontinued at the same time as was this too. So this is a 2017 green Submariner, green dial, green bezel. I'm sure all of you watching this video today will know all about this watch. What I think is so special about this one is that this is still in stickers and never been polished, never been worn, and it was bought as an investment piece by one of our customers. We've got this one up for sale at about $16,500, so it's not a cheap watch, but none of them are going to be cheap like that. But I think for someone that perhaps wants the best they could buy, they don't want it to have been polished, they don't want anybody to have worn it. They may never even wear this watch, they want to just put it away in a safe, which would be a real shame, but they look at it as a sort of a future investment watch. Then you can't buy something better that's still in its Rolex stickers. So you can see here on the side, you've got that barcode there. Same all over the bracelet, so it's all just fully stickered up. So the Hulk, it's been a great watch, and sometimes compare this one to what they call the new Kermit. Very much each their own in preference, but the Kermit, of course, is one that's available now, albeit very hard to get. The Hulk is completely discontinued, and I think unlikely ever to be seen again. So if you like your green Rolexes, that's definitely one to consider. But functionality wise, just the same as the other ones we've shown you. This has the automatic movement. This will have a power reserve around about 48 hours. Of course, the new one's got 70 hours. Accurate, now this is 2017, so you should be, I reckon, about plus or minus 2 seconds per day. By means of its waterproof down to 1,000 foot, which I think is enough for most of you. And it's just, yeah, it's an absolute one of the classics there. Same satinized stainless steel bracelet. And again, all the stickers there you can see on the clasp. I'll show you on the wrist too. It's always a pleasure putting a Hulk on the wrist. There we go. Of course, you're seeing this here under sort of artificial light, but it's when this watch is seen out in the sun. It's got this beautiful, like almost like a sunburst dial, And when the sun hits it, it just pops. It's really, really nice. If you see me actually looking down there, I've got a little monitor down here. I just want to make sure I've got these watches beautifully centered for you. But let's show you actually up here. And again, you get an idea of its thinness. So again, nice size, not too thick. It'll go underneath some shirt cuffs as well. So that's our unworn in stickers Hulk. So this is another watch that's just come in today, and this is what we affectionately call the Batgirl. So this is the Rolex GMT Master 2. This was introduced, I think, around about 2018, and it was a real left field introduction, something we hadn't really expected to see. But again, if we go back many, many years ago when the GMT Master was introduced, of course, a watch made famous for its link with pilots flying the world, and of course Pan American Airlines that went to Rolex looking for them to make a tool watch for their pilots flying around the world, different time zones, and of course the Pepsi was probably the most famous one, and it was available on the Jubilee bracelet. So Rolex decided when they brought the Pepsi out and this this Batgirl out, the blue black, to introduce it onto the Jubilee bracelet. And it certainly works. I think the colors with the stainless steel and the polished center links, a nice contrast there, and the blue and the black contrast against the black dial, and you've got the blue second hand going around as well. It's a really lovely looking watch. Again, these you can't get. They don't achieve quite the premiums of the Pepsi on the pre-owned market, but they're still pretty hard to get, and we tend to find these watches come and go pretty quickly. Now, unlike the Submariner bezel, this one actually turns bidirectionally. And the reason being is that this is the way in which you would actually read different time zones from its external bezel, as well as the traditional dial there too. So by means of the basic specification of the watch, the movement is, this has the new power reserve in it as well. It's the 3235 movement. I think that's the right number for it. So you've got 70-hour power reserve, which is really, really useful, and quite an increase on the sort of previous 48-hour one. It's a chronometer as well, so that's performing to within minus plus or 2 seconds per day, so exceedingly accurate. Case size 40mm, but a lovely slim case as well, but it has the maxi case on it there, and by means of its degree of waterproofness, it goes down to 100 meters. So again, I think that's going to be enough for most of you. Importantly here, it has the screw-in crown. So looking at the dial itself here, you can see lovely big hour markers there going around it here. The chromolite, which is the luminous coating on the hour hands and the hour markers. It really does mean it's very, very easy to read at night time. You can see here the blue hand, and then you have the date here with the 2.5 times magnification. Side of the case there, again, pretty slim. And then just flipping onto this side here, you can see the crown, and you can see the crown guards there as well to protect it. They were slightly bigger on this newer GMT versus the old model. And then let's look at the bracelet. This is the Jubilee bracelet here. So traditionally a slightly more elegant look, but wow, it's so comfortable to wear because you've got so many links and parts of the link there. It's like a chain on the wrist there. It's really, really nice. However, in the older model Datejust, they had what they called the concealed clasp. So literally when the bracelet was shut, you could barely see where it closed except for the little Rolex logo on the outside. One of the disadvantages of that was that on a hot day, if it became too tight on your wrist, there's nothing you could do about it. So they decided to reintroduce the Easy Link function to that. That's something we saw on the Oyster bracelet GMT Masters. And there you can see here, again, if I just point to that there, just there, that is the Easy Link, and that's actually in its extended position just now, and then it just clips back in. Very, very easy to do to bring it back to normal size. But this watch we're just showing you today because it has just arrived and it's in absolutely lovely condition as it is. This one is in fact a 2019 watch. So there we are, that shows you on the wrist there. Great color scheme, just such a fun watch. We've had many of the Batmans in the past with the Oyster bracelet, and this one is just a nice change to that look. And there you go, just show you up to camera there. Now, although it hasn't actually arrived as yet, we have actually just bought a Pepsi as well. So that should be actually coming in tomorrow. So if anybody's actually out there looking for Pepsi, please just give me a shout. Right, so we've gone through some sports ranges here, and this one is for you divers out there. In fact, you don't have to be a diver to wear this watch. You just probably will buy it because it's probably one of the most striking looking watches in the sports range. And I know it's a very popular watch for my chum Paul Thorpe. He actually raves about the James Cameron. Now, rumour mill, same with the Hulk. Every year before the Basel Watch Fair came along, the rumour mill was the Hulk was going to be discontinued, and well, they got it wrong until 2020 when of course it stopped. I really hope they don't stop this deep blue model in it, but again, there's rumour, but please don't take that as anything more than rumour. I can't see why they'd stop a watch like this. So the Rolex Deep Sea is the king of the divers watches within Rolex's range. If we think about the sports tool watches for divers, it starts off with the Submariner, stainless steel sports watch that'll take you down to 1,000 foot. And that was certainly enough for me. I remember when that watch came out, the Sea Dweller was also available, and I looked at the Sea Dweller and I thought, yeah, lovely watch, but why would I buy that? Do I need to go down to 4,000 foot? No. Did I want to spend a few £100 more then? I didn't. But it's the same today. You know, you've got the Submariner at what, maybe 7,500-ish. You've got the Sea Dweller 43, the 50th anniversary, which I think is about 9.3. So again, quite a jump up. However, the difference now with the Sea Dweller 50th anniversary compared to the older models is it's got a 43mm case size. So again, Rolex really clever to have noticed that, you know, customers want something a bit bigger, and where would their Submariner customers go if they wanted something different? Well, why not Sea Dweller? And for those that like the Cyclops on the Submariners and maybe didn't have it on the Sea Dwellers, well, let's go and put a Cyclops on there too. So again, the 50th anniversary is a great seller. But for those that wanted the absolute king of the dive watches, they brought out the Deep Sea. I think it came out around about 2008. And it's a watch that was tested thoroughly, that went, if you think about the Submariner, was 1,000 foot, the Sea Dweller 4,000 foot, the Deep Sea 12,800 foot. So there's not many dive watches will go much deeper than that, and ones you could actually practically wear as well. So all sorts of incredible technology went into this watch. The thickness of the glass on this is incredibly thick. This has got the various gas springs in it as well to try and manage the pressure that would be forced on the watch. You've got the helium escape valve there. You can see on the side it's actually an automatic valve there that gently releases to allow the buildup of helium inside of the watch, which would blow it up if that didn't happen. But I don't think many of you will be using it for that intents of purpose. You'll just be buying it because you love the look of it. So the Deep Sea, you have a choice. You can have it in black, or in this one, in the blue black. Both very, very popular, but the blue blacks are probably commanding, if they're not probably, they're definitely commanding more of a premium than the black ones. And the color, the blue that goes into black, of course, that's replicating the change in the sea when you see this beautiful blue, but when you go deeper and deeper and deeper, right down to the bed of the ocean, you have gone to black. And you can't see a thing. So that's what that is trying to replicate. So by means of the sort of specification, what do we want to know about this watch? This model is the new one. This, in fact, is a 2020 watch. It's an absolutely unworn condition. And this is the 126660. So this model was introduced around about 2018, and they took the opportunity to listen to their customers, those who have got the Deep Seas. What were the comments? How do people feel about their watch? Well, some would say that the original Deep Sea was a little top heavy. So they've changed the case. They have made the bracelet slightly wider, so they've actually put a 21mm bracelet on it as well. And that's made it a little bit less top heavy. And I'm told those who've got watches who've had both, they feel it's slightly more comfortable in it. Movement-wise, well, an opportunity to introduce the new 3235 movement. A movement that gives you a longer power reserve of up to 70 hours, previously around about 48 hours. But also a movement that was tested to be more resistant to magnetism, but also for shock. So some really clever features in there that makes it more robust. But it's a really, really strong watch. Of course, it's made out of what Rolex call 904L grade stainless steel. and it's just a really strong one all around. So the bezel on top here, this is stainless steel, but you have the ceramic insert in it. The dial itself here is this blue as it goes down into the black. The hour markers here, really strong chromolite coating on it there, and same on the hands there too. The writing where it says deep sea, slightly different. The normal one would be in white, but here it's actually in green. So a lovely combination of colors there. The bezel on this one, again, it's a unidirectional bezel, and then turning it onto its side there, this is a thick watch. So think carefully, again, if this is the right watch for you. A lot of our customers will have a number of watches, and this will only be part of the collection. Again, a lot of you out there wearing likes of, the Planet Ocean, Omegas, some of the big Breitlings. You're used to a big watch, you want a big watch, and it's absolutely perfect for you. But it's something we try really carefully to understand here. It's not just about selling a watch, it's about finding what's the right watch for you. So be keen just to understand, what you're looking for in your next watch. Here on the side there, you can see the crown guards and then the Rolex logo on the side of the crown there. Bracelet on this one, it's the Oyster bracelet, and it's the satinized finished on there, so it doesn't show the scratches quite in the same way that the polished center links will. This is the absolute daddy of the glide lock bracelet. So you've got two styles to them. The deep sea has a unique feature where if I open this up here and then put my fingernail there, the camera hopefully can just pick it up. You can see the teeth there, and as I slide this, you can actually slide it in and out without even taking it off the wrist. So really clever design to it. The back of the watch here is actually in titanium, so it's really quite special. Everything they put into the watch is just to make it the absolute best it can be. And I must say, it's an absolute favorite one of mine. I remember I bought one of these watches, maybe about 2012. It was the original black one, and got home and I was absolutely chuffed to bits with the watch, and my wife said to me, "God, what's that you bought? It's absolutely huge on the wrist. It looks ridiculous." And she sort of put me off it, and I sold it. And about 6 months later, I thought, why did I listen to it? I absolutely loved that watch, and I went out and bought it again. So it works really well for me. I say with my big wrist, it's an absolute cracker, but you can see there, look at the bracelet there where it tapers down. It's really nice. And I think it's really comfortable to wear as well. I'll just show you up to camera there, and that gives you can just see it's really quite thick on the wrist. So there we are, that's our Deep Sea 2020 unworn Deep Sea. Don't think this one will be around for long. They tend to fly out the doors. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at a Rolex Air King. And this particular watch we have here has just arrived with us, and it's a 2021 unworn watch. So a great watch, and I remember when this one came out, it was really nice with the introduction of some colors to the dial there. You can see there the Rolex crown at the top here. I'll just use my pen just to show you that there. This, of course, is traditionally in silver or probably in white gold. This one is in yellow, and then you have Rolex written in green, and then the Air King down there in white. So it's a lovely watch. The case on this one, interestingly, is the same case that's actually in the Milgauss. And the price of this watch is, I think it's really good value as almost like an entry-level watch into the Rolex range. By means of specification, it has an automatic movement. It's a chronometer, so it's performing to within plus or minus 2 seconds per day. Good chunky 40mm case size, and waterproof down to 100 meters. So it does all the things that you need it to do. But the dial's lovely. It's a really beautiful looking dial, and you have the smooth stainless steel polished bezel there. The case lugs here, I think they're fairly slim actually. They're really nice. It's a very nice balanced watch. The crown here on the side, while it doesn't have the crown guards, this does screw into the side of the case as well, just to ensure it's waterproof. Bracelet, traditional satinized Oyster bracelet, and then you have the Easy Link function there too. So if you just pull that there, that pops out. We've got this watch at, I think it's 6,495, so I think that's a good price, especially since this one is unworn. And again, it's not a watch that you regularly see in shop windows now, and hasn't attracted, quite the premium of some of the sports watches. But again, really, really nice bracelet. Still got the stickers on the back of the clasp there as well. And a quick holding up the camera there so you can see the thickness of it. Good looking watch, really good looking watch. I think for the money, I think for $6,500, it's a really good Rolex to buy. Okay, so that is bringing us almost towards the end. I've got 3 of the new Oyster Perpetual 41s to talk to you about. Now this one actually here on my desk, we've actually got this one reserved, but I'd like to just very briefly show it to you. We've got a customer coming to see us this week, and he's not quite sure if he wants the blue one or the black one, but we thought we'd just show you this one because this is the first of the blue ones that we've actually taken into stock, and it's absolutely beautiful. It really is. So the Oyster Perpetual, again, it's a model that's been out in the range for a long time, but in 2020, Rolex brought out an absolutely incredible collection of Oyster Perpetuals, different sizes. All the ones we've got to talk to you about today are the 41 mils, and you could buy them in black, silver. Silver's really, really nice, a bit of a sort of antique-y look to it, a bright yellow, a coral red, a green, and then of course the Tiffany one as well, which is the hardest one to get. That really is an amazing watch. But this one in blue, I think it's a beautiful, beautiful color. Really clear and uncluttered dial. Now these watches are $4,700 to buy, brand new. We pay a little bit over list to buy them, and we've got this one as an example at $6,500. So I think it's good value for what it is. By means of the spec on the watch, the movement in it is a new movement that's gone into it, and it's got the 70-hour power reserve, so that's really, really good. It's a chronometer movement as well, so that's giving you the plus or minus 2 seconds per day. And it's the 41 mil case size, so again, the previous Oyster Perpetual was 39, so a nice wee change there, and I think following the sort of demand in the market for bigger watches, and a watch for all occasions. This one will take you down to 100 meters. So again, if you're out swimming, if you're on holiday, this is not a watch you need to leave in your hotel room or leave beside your sunbed. Go and jump in the pool with it and wear it. It's absolutely designed to be worn. What I see with the Oyster Perpetual, I think it's a really understated Rolex. I mean, £4,700 to have an automatic chronometer Rolex, I think that's just brilliant value. But of course, you can't get them. I think the black's probably the easiest one to get, and as you start to go up the color range to the silvers, the reds, the blues, the greens, the Tiffany's, then the prices just go up and up and up. Nice and slim as well. We'll show you on the wrist in a second. Again, stainless steel, 904L grain stainless steel with a polished sides to it there. And then the bracelet is the straight satinized Oyster bracelet there. And on the back, you can see here that the Rolex logo is almost like it's sunken into the clasp there. You do also have the Easy Link function there too. So again, that's just really all you need for a good fit. And here we have it on the wrist. Really good luminous coating on that one as well. And again, that bracelet tapers down. Sorry if it does occasionally go out of focus here. Again, the camera's just trying to focus on the bracelet there, but really, really nice. And then we'll just bring it up here. It's very, very slim. Really is. Very, very slim. Yeah, I think that's an absolute looker. It really is. So that's our blue one. And then we've got it here in black too. And again, this is another unworn watch. I think that's lovely. I really do. In fact, let me just put these two beside each other and just give you a bit of a contrast between the blue and the black. That's something that, again, the Explorers, we're finding the Explorers are now becoming really, really hard to get, and they're achieving really good premiums over list. So very good for those that can buy them new. But this, I think, is definitely one to consider if you're looking just for a very simple, clear, easy to read, unfussy Rolex. Again, nice black dial, really good luminous coating, stainless steel polished bezel on it. That same power reserve, super accurate, nice and slim. And that satinized bracelet there. I'll show you that on the wrist. I must say, I'm really quite taken with this Oyster Perpetual collection. I think they've done really, really well with it. There you go. and back up there. So this definitely is going to fit underneath, I think, most people's shirt cuffs. So there we are. We now come to our last watch, and for those of you that have stuck with us watching this video, thank you for your patience, and hopefully this last watch has been worth the wait. And we're very, very excited to bring you the Tiffany Oyster Perpetual. This is the first one we've had, and I doubt this is going to hang around for too long. In fact, you know what? I'm not even sure I'm going to sell it right now. I think this is something we might just keep and enjoy for a little bit. It is just absolutely beautiful. It really is. The color of that dial, I've seen loads of pictures of it, I've seen videos of it, but actually to have it in the hand here is great. And I know that my customer who very kindly sold me this watch will be watching this, so I thank you sincerely for giving us the opportunity to have this watch and at some point find it a new home. But wow, what a watch. There we go. Just a contrast to the blue. Dial is absolutely amazing. So, I think this is probably, you know, I know the fashionista will be loving this Tiffany color scheme. It really is quite lovely. All the same specification as the other one. And in fact, let me just give us a light rub down there. What I'm going to show you here, if I just bring this to camera, this is our new polishing cloth. And it's something I wanted to do actually was with the, for our customers, was I just wanted to give a small gift as a small gesture of our appreciation. And I went out and tried to find what is the best polishing cloth I could buy. And I came across a company called Selvit. And Selvit make polishing cloths for the military. So I thought, well, good enough for the army, then that's good enough for us. So these are their top end cloths, and just really, really nice just to keep your watch in, you know, in its best condition. So, you know, we give one of these away with each of our new watches. So there we are. What better watch to end today's Rolex collection video than our Tiffany Oyster Perpetual. Thank you so much for spending the last half an hour watching our video. I think you can probably gather I'm really excited with the collection I've got to share with you today. We've got lots more beautiful watches coming in soon, so if you love your watches, in fact, if you've got chums, friends, family, colleagues that love their Rolexes, why not share this video with them? In fact, come and join our community. All you have to do is just click up there and you subscribe to our channel. We list many of our watches on Instagram and Facebook too, so if you use Instagram and Facebook, why not come and join the community? But anyhow, thanks so much for watching. We'll have more videos coming along soon. Take care. Bye-bye.